try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the most significant day in the history of Bitcoin, and that day is not history yet because it is the present. As Master Oogway said, yesterday is a mystery. Sorry, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And today, we're going to be talking about the present of 11 Bitcoin ETFs being approved by a very salty regulator named Gary Gensler. We have some temper tantrum tears we're going to be reading about here in just a little while, but the news of the day is, of course, that late yesterday, the Bitcoin exchange traded funds, 11 of them, not just one, 11 of them were approved, and trading began 27 minutes ago today. I'm even going to show you the fidelity. I went into my fidelity. I'm going to show you that they're up, they are trading, they are active. History is happening today. January 10th and 11th, 2024 will go down in history as one of the most significant days in financial market history. You are living history right now, folks. The last time that we saw anything this substantial in the ETF space take place was in November of 2004 when the gold ETF was approved. One of the first major precious metal commodities ETFs was approved. Gold would go on to quadruple in the next 7 years, and gold already had maintained and found price stability for the 6,000 years of human history leading up until that very point. And even still, a single ETF for gold, the GLD ETF, changed everything, quadrupled the value of an already established market. What might this do to Bitcoin, which is still very much in the discovery phase, being only 15 years and, 15 years and 9 days old today? How far will Bitcoin go because of this approval? Time will tell, and we're going to be talking about all that and more in today's episode of of Coffee and Crypto Live. I really do appreciate all of you for tuning in, so let's go ahead and get started. We've got Sean O'Brien in chat, said 49K, baby. That's right, guys. We've got a $49,000 Bitcoin to talk about. We have not seen these levels in 2 years. Stay tuned. We're going to look at the chart very shortly here. Crypto Surge is in chat. Coin Operator, yeah, 1128. Pew Pew Poom 2. Connor Smethurst is in chat. Godly Hands, Richard Jacobson, Crypto Ohio. Jeb, are we all not super bullish now and forever? Yes. John Zambito, Quantum Endangered is here. I have the Beholder, said congrats if you own Bitcoin and we're front-running BlackRock. You're very early and definitely not bullish enough. How much earlier than BlackRock did you guys get into Bitcoin? I've been in Bitcoin for 6.5 years now. How long have you been here? I'd love to hear in the chat. Enrico said, let's go. Geekster Gaming is in chat. Zach Kejmar, love your name. It's so fun to say. Motimus Maximus is here. That's a cool name. That's a cool name. That sounds like part of the skit from Life of Brian. That's what that sounds like. Marley 120 Thirst. Schmedley B is here. Benjamin Bergdorf is in chat. Joe Bollier. Shahrat Hedged? I'm not sure. Kunky Bunk, Carnivorous Dude, RK, Race on Records, Ahmad, Kyrie, Jamal. Probably butchered it. Brecht Rakehart, I think I got that right. That looks Celtic or something. Radiant Substance, Beer, Bourbon, Barbecue, and Bitcoin. Haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you, my friend. Hall of Fame. Goodness gracious, there's too many of you guys. Vintage Excellence. Let's at least get the green names and the blue names. Mike Lowry's in chat. I have the Beholder. JJ, man, you guys are awesome. I'm so excited to have all of you in chat. Someone said currently 16x leverage on Bitcoin. Wow, you're probably making a good bit of money right now. You're probably up 40 or 50% at least. Bought at the peak 2018 and watched it drop 85%. Ha, yes, you've been here for a while. Bought my first Bitcoin in 2017. Me too, Tiffany. How about that? Regards from Bulgaria. Man, we got people flooding in. We decided to go ahead and start 5 minutes early today because, come on, guys, we got a lot to talk about. And first things first, we got to go and play the world's smallest violin. I should have gotten my violin out and pretended it was small. It's a normal size violin. I have 2 of them. I should have gotten it out and just played I should have played the violin here for Gary Gensler here. If you guys don't know, I can play the violin. I do that sometimes. And I should have just gotten it out and said, oh my, you poor thing. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. I don't mean to mock. I do mean to mock. Maybe I shouldn't. You know what's funny to me? It's funny to be. We're going to take a little bit of a different trajectory than we normally do with the stream, starting with the market review over on CoinMarketCap and the charts and everything. We're going to look at Gary Gensler's Twitter. You know, because for the last few days, Gary Gensler has been saying things like, the SEC Twitter account was compromised and an unauthorized tweet was posted. The SEC has not approved the listing and trading of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded products. I wonder if Gary Gensler himself hacked the SEC and did that just so that he could relish one last time saying that the Bitcoin exchange-traded fund was not approved. I wonder if he just wanted to say it one last time and he hacked it. I doubt it. I doubt he did. But somebody did. And you know what's funny? I was reading a report earlier today about the hacking of the SEC, and I realized something. I learned a new thing. You know the thing? You want to know the thing I learned? Not long ago, in the last decade, the Securities and Exchange Commission sued a company for having weak passwords and getting hacked because their cybersecurity was not on point, and it caused the markets to move. SEC versus SEC coming up? I don't know. Stay tuned. If they're not hypocrites, then they'll sue themselves. But no post here of the approval. Nothing. That silence is deafening. Wanted to run his mouth about the cryptocurrency market and all the risks thereof, which, by the way, there are a lot of risks in cryptocurrency. But the Lord hates an unfair balance, and he despises unbalanced weights and measures. If we are going to come after the risks of cryptocurrency, we ought to also mention at least the possibilities thereof. And we have a regulator that is using a false weight and measure. And that is abhorrent. To only go after the things that we ought to be cautious about in cryptocurrency, which are true. You should be cautious about fraud. You should be cautious about scams. You should be cautious against phishing and against nonsense ICOs that are trying to raise money and doing nothing good with the money, and they're rug pulling you. You should be cautious of that. But you also ought to be cautious of a government official that does not at the same time maintain a degree of fairness by telling us the different areas that you can profit in the space. Because it's an unbalanced weight and measure. And the Bible is very clear on that the Lord abhors it. Okay? I've got nothing wrong with putting out the risks. I tell you about the risks of investment every day, and that is the good and wise thing to do. But I will also tell you about the opportunities. And the silence from Gary Gensler today and yesterday afternoon with the approval is absolutely deafening. There's nothing here. No, congratulations. I went ahead and replied to the SEC with this. Temper tantrum. Goodness gracious, somebody is Saul. Thank you for the approval. I'm going to read this in just a second. But even the SEC, you would think, okay, Gary Gensler's silent on it, but at least the SEC is going to tweet something about it. I mean, for crying out loud, they got hacked and they tweeted it. Do you have to hack the SEC to tweet something about the Bitcoin approval? Nothing here. Most recent post. The SEC X account was compromised. An unauthorized post was posted. The SEC has not approved the listing and trading of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded products. At this point, that being the top article, the top post on the SEC's Twitter account, I think the SEC also ought to hack the SEC for leaving up misleading information. Because anybody who's heard about the exchange-traded funds being approved, they go to the SEC, and the first thing they're going to see is that the SEC has not approved the listing and trading of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded products. The SEC has a duty, in my opinion, if they're going to leave this tweet here, to post another tweet saying, now we have done this. It's just my opinion. Do with it what you will. Finally, we're going to talk a little bit about the actual statement of approval from the US SEC, and get your popcorn. This is rich. This is so rich. This is like fudge that your grandmother made. It just like makes your whole mouth just explode with color. God, man, this is funny. All right. Statement on the approval of spot Bitcoin exchange traded products. Notice a couple of things. I'm going to pick this apart with a fine-tooth comb, and we're going to have some laughs here. And yes, don't worry, we will get into the markets, and I'll let you know really quickly. They're rallying significantly. Bitcoin's on a bit of a drop right now. But let's read this. This is rich. This is so funny. If you're new here, by the way, guys, let's go ahead and hit that like button. We're about to get into the actual approval letter. We've got over 500 people watching, only 100 likes. I know that we can get much higher than that. I know that we can get to 300 likes. Let's see if we can get to 300 likes, and I'll give you another fortune cookie, and we'll read it together. Today, this is yesterday that this came out. Today, the commission approved the listing and trading of a number of spot Bitcoin exchange traded product shares. He won't even use, and again, this is in first person. This is Chair Gary Gensler speaking himself. He won't even use the term ETF. He won't even let it cross his mouth. You'll see what I mean as we read through this, how pathetic this is. I have often said that the commission acts within the law and how the courts interpret the law. Beginning under Chair Jay Clayton in 2018 and through March 2023, the commission disapproved more than 20 exchange rule filings for spot Bitcoin ETPs. One of those filings, made by Grayscale, contemplated the conversion of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an ETP. We are now faced, notice that, we are now faced. That is the mark of someone who is hostile to the entire idea of the subject matter being a Bitcoin spot exchange traded product. We are now faced. When I say the channel's viewership has quadrupled in the last 3 months, I don't say we are now faced with a quadrupling of viewership. I don't say we are now faced with the fact that yesterday we hit 225,000 subscribers. I don't say we are now faced with a growing portfolio. No, we say we are now blessed. We are now excited. When you say we are now faced, you are overtly admitting hostility towards the subject matter at hand. And that's important because there is a lie. There is a lie baked into this article. And you guys know I don't come after people that often, but when there is nonsense afoot, I'm going to call it out. Because this article is being published by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, which is a government agency, which is supposed to be for the people and accountable to the people, and there is a lie. There is a lie in this article. And I don't stand for lies. We are now faced with a set of filings similar to those that we have disapproved in the past. Circumstances, however, have changed. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia held that the Commission failed to adequately explain its reasoning in disapproving the listing and trading of Grayscale's proposed Bitcoin ETP, the Grayscale Order. The court therefore vacated the Grayscale Order and remanded the matter to the Commission. Essentially, they said, SEC, your ruling is nonsense. Try again. Based on these circumstances and those discussed more fully in the approval order, I feel the most sustainable path forward is to approve the listing and trading of these spot Bitcoin ETP shares. Again, he won't even let the word ETF, the phrasing ETF, cross his lips. It's sad. And he also doesn't have any explanation right here about why. What the SEC may have done wrong. This would have been an excellent opportunity for Gary Gensler to say, we didn't put forward this evidence very well, we didn't do this very well. This would have been a great opportunity to gain some favor in the cryptocurrency community's light and say, look, this is what we believe, and that's okay. Believe what you will, but at least have a reason for what you believe. He could have put forward some evidence and say, this is why we believe that the Grayscale ETP should not have been approved. Ultimately, we didn't do a good enough job presenting it, though. But instead, it just reeks of crying. The Commission evaluates any rule filing by a national securities exchange based upon whether it is consistent with the Exchange Act and regulations thereunder, including whether it is designed to protect investors in the public interest. The Commission is merit neutral. This is the lie. Merit neutral. Let's get a SEC merit neutral definition. Let me just see if I can find a definition here. What is the... Under the securities laws. Here we go. I found it. Let me find this. Aha, here we go. So this is another testimony from Gary Gensler himself on SEC.gov. Under the securities laws, meaning that this is law. So in fact, according to Gary Gensler's own words, what is written in this post that I am reading to you is criminal. Under the securities laws, the SEC is merit neutral. Investors get to decide what investments they make and risks they take based upon those disclosures. The SEC focuses on the disclosures and not the merits of the investment. These, I'm going to copy and paste that for later. These are Gary Gensler's own words. September 27th, 2023, before the United States House Committee on Financial Services. Those are his direct quotes. We're picking them apart today, guys. I haven't gone into this much detail picking apart Gary Gensler, but we're going for it today. The Commission is merit neutral and does not take a particular view on companies' investments or the assets underlying an ETP. Does not take a view on particular companies' investments or these assets underlying an ETP. Lies. Lies. I am somebody that believes the best in people. I've been told that by everybody that knows me. I'm a glass half full kind of person. I am not an individual that will be very quick to call out a lie where I think that foolishness could be the actual rationale, because I think a lie is maliciousness. You can make a mistake, and that's foolishness. A lie is malice. I am very, very, very careful not to ascribe malice where I think foolishness could be the culprit. This is a bold-faced lie, and there is no way that the regulator at the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission doesn't know it. There is no possible way at all. This is a lie. If the issuer of a security and the listing exchange comply with the Securities Act, the Exchange Act, and the Commission's rules, that issuer must be provided the same access to our regulated markets as anyone else. Importantly, today's Commission action is cabined to ETPs holding one non-security commodity, Bitcoin. By the way, probably through gritted teeth, he admitted that Bitcoin is a non-security commodity. This is written in stone. Bitcoin forevermore is a commodity. There's no more debate about it. That's been pretty much a settled fact for a while, but you can't argue with it anymore. It should in no way signal the Commission's willingness to approve listing standards for crypto asset securities, nor does the approval signal anything about the Commission's view as to the status of other crypto assets under the federal securities laws, or about the current state of noncompliance of certain crypto asset market participants with the federal securities law. Fine. If a court, because the court is the judge, right? Literally, if a court finds that something's a security, then that's the deal. Listen, it might be a dumb ruling, but that's what we go by. That's how it works. As I've said in the past, and without prejudging any one crypto asset, again, lies, saying he's not prejudging any one crypto asset. The vast majority of crypto assets are investment contracts and thus subject to federal securities law. So before I say this thing, I'm not going to say this thing, is basically what this sentence says. Before I say this thing, I'm not going to say this thing, but I'm going to say this thing. It's a contradiction. Investors today can already buy and sell or otherwise gain exposure to Bitcoin at a number of brokerage houses through mutual funds on national securities exchanges, through peer-to-peer payment apps on non-compliant crypto trading platforms, and of course through the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And of course, notice the reading here. Listen to it. It's, when I read the Bible, I read it out loud because a lot of times you can actually feel the tone of what somebody's trying to say through the reading of it. Sometimes you can ascribe some degree of tone through text, and you can hear the tone here through peer-to-peer payment apps and non-compliant crypto trading platforms, and of course through the Bitcoin Trust, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. You can hear it. You can hear the ugh right there. Today's action will include certain protections for investors. We're almost done here. I know this seems long, but we're getting through it. First, sponsors of Bitcoin ETPs will be required to provide full, fair, and truthful disclosures about the products. Investors in any Bitcoin ETP that is listed and traded will benefit from the disclosure included in public registration statements, etc. Not really my point here. You can stop and read a lot of this if you want. Second, these products will be listed and traded on registered national securities exchanges, etc. Not really my point. Further, existing rules and standards of conduct will apply to the purchase and sale within the Bitcoin, within the approved ETPs, etc. Again, not really my point. Skipping down, today's action does not approve or endorse crypto trading platforms or intermediaries, which for the most part are non-compliant with the federal securities law and often have conflicts of interest. This is the last section of the post, and then we will be done. I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, ugh, get onto some charts. I'm coming. We're working on it. All right, we're getting there. Bitcoin's at 48K. We'll be there in just a minute. Third, Commission staff is separately completing the review of registration statements for 10 spot Bitcoin ETPs simultaneously, which will help to create a level playing field for issuers and promote fairness and competition benefiting investors and the broader markets. Good. As I said earlier, it is not fair to criticize when you're also not going to compliment. Well done to the Securities and Exchange Commission for approving all 11 at the same time. Good job. All right? I am a fair individual if I am strict when it comes to sin and lying. There's a lie baked into this, and I must call that out. But I will commend Gary Gensler and the Commission for approving 11 ETFs. He doesn't want to say it. He wants to say ETPs. ETFs at once. Good job. That was the right decision. That was the right decision, and I am glad that Gary Gensler's commission did that. That was the right way to do it because it will promote competition and it will promote fairness. This is where the nonsense comes back, and this will be the last section that we read here because it's the end of the article. Since 2004, this agency has had experience overseeing spot non-security commodity ETPs, such as those holding certain precious metals. We've talked about the gold ETF. It launched in November of 2004, and the SEC is saying here that they've had 20 years experience working with ETFs and ETPs, which are securities holding non-security commodities such as precious metals. That experience will be valuable in our oversight on spot Bitcoin ETP trading. This right here, this last section at the very end, is what I'm calling his temper tantrum. This is Gary Gensler's famous temper tantrum on the day of approval. Though we're merit neutral. So really quick, this is almost like, how shall I put this? I'm not saying, but I'm saying. Though we're merit neutral, I'm about to not be merit neutral. It's a little bit like when somebody says, I'm not racist, but, and then fill in the blank. Something I'm not going to say on stream, right? I mean, I'm not a racist. I'm not. But You know, when somebody says something racist or sexist or whatever you want to say, like something mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's this. Surely there's a phrase in English for that. Like, surely that's like a certain kind of a thing. That's what this is. Though we're merit neutral, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be racist, right? But insert false statement that is also racist. Though we're merit neutral, I'd note that the underlying assets in the metals ETPs have consumer and industrial uses, while in contrast, Bitcoin is primarily a speculative, volatile asset that's also used for illicit activity, including ransomware, money laundering, sanction evasion, and I can't say that on YouTube, financing. While we approve the listing and trading of certain spot Bitcoin ETP shares today, again, he can't even let the words ETF cross his mouth. The passive aggressiveness out of this man is palpable. It's just falling off of him. While we approve the listing and trading of certain spot Bitcoin ETP shares today, we did not approve or endorse Bitcoin. Investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and products whose value is tied to crypto. But we're merit neutral. We're merit neutral. We're merit neutral. But investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and product whose value is tied to crypto. Sounds a little bit like fear-mongering to me. There is a bold-faced lie that, according to Gary Gensler's own words, very well may be illegal, which is that the Securities and Exchange Commission and anyone operating in the official capacity of the SEC, such as posting an article as the chair of the SEC on sec.gov, must remain merit neutral. It is the Securities and Exchange Commission's job, according to the words of Gary Gensler, to maintain a regulating body whose job is to manage disclosures and regulatory framework, not to comment on the merit of a specific investment. Those are Gary Gensler's words, paraphrased, from something that is not, from a testimony before the House of Representatives that is not even 5 months old. The SEC has been around for nearly 100 years. The idea of merit neutrality goes back that far. Gary Gensler's incessant comments on this is nagging, it's annoying, it is out of line, it is un-American, and it is wrong. It is also leading him to be a liar and doing illegal activity. This is wrong. And I will call it out where I see it. And from everything I have seen from Gary Gensler, I cannot, as much as I'd like to believe the best in people, I try to believe the best in people. 1 Corinthians 13, love believes the best in people, but not to the point of believing a lie. I cannot anymore, especially with this article, ascribe this to foolishness when it is very clearly maliciousness. There's malice here. I can't explain it any other way. There's no other way that I can explain the bold-faced lie that was repeated at least 3 times in this article that they are merit neutral when they are obviously not. You guys don't see me get heated like that very often. Gonna put my soapbox away, and we're gonna talk about the good news today after we've dismantled Gary Gensler. Absolutely ridiculous. Should we expect anything more from our government? Probably not, to be honest. Let's read chat for just a minute, and then we're going to get into the actual news. I'm very excited that all of you are here. I'm going to read some chat. I'm really interested to see what the comments are going to be on that whole rant. Bretchart said, hi, Jeb, best regards from Belgium. Good to see you. The Drake equation's in chat. Why are all the ETF prices different? Because they're priced differently. So the ETF itself has a price. The price is based on the underlying spot asset, based on the underlying asset, which is Bitcoin, but they all actually have different prices because what you're actually trading is the ETF, not Bitcoin. Congratulations to my fellow hodlers. Smash the likes. JoJo's in chat. Good morning, JoJo. Shout out to all of our green names. Thank you, guys. Mean Beam Okerlund said, congratulations, everyone. Mike Lowry said, I've been here with you since 2019. Shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much. Like the video and let's support the alpha provided by Jeb. Thank you, guys. There's a lot of alpha right now. The SEC is here to protect us, but can't even protect themselves. What a joke. Yep, exactly. What a day. Take a breath, drink coffee, and watch the climb. Exactly. Look at Bitcoin's MC 24 hour. Yeah, I know. Unbelievable SEC. True jab, just market manipulation. It's market manipulation. That's a good word for it. That's what the SEC is doing. They are committing market manipulation. They are hypocrites. There is hypocrisy written all over Gary Gensler's actions. He ought to be fired. Gary is so salty. Yes, he is, and he's letting his emotions and his temper tantrum get in the way of doing his job. It is not his job to pick winners and losers. It is not his job to break his own rules. Fees and custodial costs, yes. Just like that kid that never likes to lose, yep. We need someone like Jeb running the SEC. Listen, I would make a mockery of it. All right? I know how to be honest. I don't know. I am not a securities expert. Gary Gensler's got me beat hand over fist there. This guy's been in securities for a long time. I'm not going to go after him on his knowledge. I would not be any better at running the SEC than him, but I will tell you something. I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be lying. I wouldn't be saying I'm going to be one thing and be the other thing. You know what I just read in the Bible this morning? Every man will proclaim his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? In other words, every man will proclaim his own good intentions, but who can you find that will actually keep his promises? All right. By the way, I have absolutely no interest in going after Gary Gensler ad hominem or being mean to the guy. I'm simply calling out the sin. Preach, brother Jeb. Thank you, Nash Nash. Absolute 8384 said, Jeb is fired up today. Love it, brother. Thank you so much. It's on a poppin' Jeb. It's called a double standard Jeb. Yep, that's exactly right. It is a double standard. It is a double standard. Crypto Carnivore said, preach it, Jeb. Love you, brother. He will get kicked out of his chair. Probably not. That's the sad thing. Jesus is Lord. Absolutely. All right. Flagging up the chain of command, haven't properly called out. He should be. Anyhow, at least the positive side is the approval by Gary Gensler. Chill, Jim. No, absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm very excited about the approval, and today we're going to talk about that, so let's get started. We had to go through that article, but here we are. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $47,700. It is up 0.17% over the last hour. It has been going through a slight correction, but we are nearing $1 trillion market capitalization. That is our next major resistance level that we tested earlier this morning. We are up 8.74% in the last 7 days, up 6% in the last 24 hours, and the altcoins are surging. Ethereum is up 9.12% in the last 24 hours, up 17% in the last 7 days. Massive run going on for Ethereum. We're very excited about that, and I believe a big part of the reason that we are seeing such a massive rally on ETH is because of this approval. Ethereum has also been called a commodity, and there is also an Ethereum ETF in the works. So if we've seen a Bitcoin exchange traded fund approval, it takes us one step closer to an Ethereum exchange traded fund approval. This news is directly bullish for Bitcoin, but it is also indirectly extremely bullish for Ethereum. It is indirectly bullish for Ethereum as well. Solana's down slightly over the last hour, but up 12% in the last 24 hours. XRP up 9%, up to 60 cents. We've got Cardano going through a massive run, pulled all the way back down into the 40s. It is currently at 60 cents, up 19% in the last 24 hours. Avalanche up 18%. Dogecoin up 10%. Polkadot up 21%. Polygon up 15%. Chainlink up 10%. All of your portfolios are probably very bullish. Our portfolio is very much in the green right now. SHIB up 10%. ICP up 6.5% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin Cash, for some reason, up 18%, as if the Bitcoin Cash maxis think that this has anything to do with Bitcoin Cash. Litecoin's up 9%. ETH Classic up 42%. Also, kind of funny in the same regard as Bitcoin Cash, but ETH Classic is up significantly, again, probably because of the bullishness coming from the idea of a Bitcoin, of a Ethereum ETF. Uniswap up 10%. Love to see it. Cosmos up 12%. Near Protocol up 16.5%. Stellar up 8%, Injective up 6%. Let's see, Immutable up 15%. Arbitrum up 13%. Very excited about that. Got some buys in around 150. Excited to see that rallying so much. There's going to be a big unlock, which is concerning to me, but it's doing well. Caspa up 20% in the last 7 days. Altcoins are moonshotting right now. VeChain up 15%. We've already deployed a considerable amount of our investment capital into the cryptocurrency market. And I'm very excited that we have done that because there is a lot of bullishness to come. Right now, Bitcoin is on an absolute tear. We did see the initial fake post from the Securities and Exchange Commission come out here. It led to a lot of volatility. But as we can tell by the chart, much of our bullishness was already priced in. Bitcoin did not rally an insane amount after the Bitcoin ETF was approved, but that's because we've been pricing in the Bitcoin approval over the last several months. We've been pricing in the approval of the Bitcoin ETF since September and October, especially since was late September, I believe it was late September, when we saw the Grayscale, actually I think it was August 29th, there was this blip right here, right when Grayscale won their case. At the very beginning of the article, if you'll remember, we saw Gary Gensler even cite part of the reason that they were forced to do this was because of the Grayscale ruling. That is why back then, if you don't remember, that is why back then we thought it was such a bullish thing, why the market jumped so much that Grayscale won that case, because we knew that it would likely eventually lead to an approval by the SEC because they wouldn't have a choice but to do it. And so now we are seeing a rally on Bitcoin, but much of the rally has already occurred. That being said, this is just the beginning. We've just seen the actual trading of this exchange-traded fund, these 11 exchange-traded funds, starting in just the last couple of hours. In fact, I even want to show you over here in my own Fidelity. I brought this up. You can see the Fidelity ETF is right here. I have access to it. If I wanted to buy it, I would buy it. I'm already self-custodying a significant amount of Bitcoin, so I'm probably not too interested, but we are going to see a lot of investment here, and they are competing hard. You've probably seen quite a lot of this in the news, but all of the ETF managers, all the ETF applicants over the last several weeks have been going back and forth on fees, and Fidelity here, being one of the largest companies in the world, is just like, you know what, we're just going to buy out the competition. Fidelity Investments is waiving the fee to invest in FBTC starting August 1st, 2024. Fidelity will begin charging an expense ratio of 25 basis points. So that gross expense ratio is relatively middle of the road, but it will be zero for the next 8 months. So there is quite a degree of competition here because all of these ETF applicants got their approval at once. Something like this has never happened before. This is a historic day. We have never seen 11 ETFs for the same commodity come out on launch at the same time. This is a historic moment. This is the first and probably last time that we will ever see anything like this happen in the history of the market until we get the Ethereum ETFs. We may see the exact same thing happen with 11 Ethereum ETFs coming out all at the same time. And I don't think we'll have to wait 10 years for that to happen the same way we did with the Bitcoin ETFs, because now we actually have a degree of precedence, legal precedence here that we can go by. All right, well, we have the Bitcoin ETFs. Should be a lot easier to get Ethereum ETFs. We'll see. The point is here, these companies realize that this is going to be big. That's why they're all competing tooth and nail for the fees. I had an article up on the fee structure. I don't know if I still have it up. Let's see. I do. It's right here. This is the actual fee structure of the 11 companies that received approval. ARK21 shares Bitcoin ETF. That was the ETF whose deadline was today. That was, of course, approved. Their fee after a waiver will be 0% for 6 months. A waiver detail is essentially what we just talked about. You can see the waiver over here on FBTC. Investment Fidelity is waiving the fee to invest in BTC. So a waiver is essentially under what conditions will there be no fee. So ARK21 shares is 0% right now for the first 6 months, or after that if you're investing $1 billion. Take note of that. If you're investing $1 billion, do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? If you invest $1 billion, look at all of these. Or $1 billion, or $5 billion freaking dollars, or $5 billion. Look at these waivers. There is not one of them in the millions, or the tens of millions, or the hundreds of millions. These are fee waivers. All 5 of the ETFs that have fee waivers, which would be ARK, Bitwise, Invesco Galaxy, iShares from BlackRock, and WisdomTree. All 5 of them have waivers for $1 billion investment. That is insane. That means that those 5 companies, not one company with some wildly bullish CFO, all 5 companies that have waivers, 5 companies that have waivers are putting the minimum waiver at $1 billion. That means they expect $1 billion purchases of Bitcoin. Do you remember what I told you? That when you see $1 billion coming to Bitcoin, that doesn't mean the market cap's going to move $1 billion. That could move the market cap $10 billion. It's not like putting water in a bucket. You put $1 billion into Bitcoin, the market cap goes up $1 billion. That's not the way it works. You put $1 billion of buy pressure, and then you buy up all the sell orders. And if there's not many sell orders, you can move the price a very long way. So if you're seeing billions, plural, tens of billions probably, with the way that this looks, tens of billions flowing into the market, that amount of buy pressure is unlike anything we've really ever seen before. The on-ramp that we just have seen built for the Bitcoin market, specifically, is honestly larger than every other on-ramp to date. This on-ramp that is right before your very eyes right now that I bring to you today from investors.com is a larger on-ramp than every other on-ramp that has been built in the last 15 years. And they all went online in a single day. Think about if we have a 2-lane interstate. We have 3 lanes of on-ramp right now. That's what we're looking at. How much traffic's going to be after that fork? A lot. 6 months or $1 billion for ARK. 6 months or $1 billion for Bitwise. That basically means for the first 6 months, they're waiving the fee because they're trying to be competitive, of course. They're not really going to make any money here, but they want to come out on top later on. Valkyrie for 3 months and then 0.49. Vanek, no waiver. Wisdom Tree, 6 months or $1 billion. These fees have been going down and down and down and down and down. This is big news. I don't want you to miss this. It's very big news. All right. Let's continue along here because we've got news on Bitcoin. Let's talk about the technicals. Now that we've actually seen the launch, we can do some technical analysis on this. Up to date. Bitcoin yesterday, we were talking about how the MACD was converging bullish on itself. It's probably about to break bullish. We talked about yesterday, and I'll just go ahead and show you where we were. If we use the replay tool, we were live right about here, 10 a.m. This is where we were live yesterday. This is the exact chart, actually. In fact, it was one forward. This is the exact chart right here that you guys were seeing on stream. I'll go one more forward. Nope, too far. Right here. Go to the 11th hour. This right here is the exact chart that we were looking at yesterday. We were looking at Bitcoin on the hourly chart breaking above this descending 14-interval moving average on the RSI, and we were looking at it having a potential convergence and break bullish on the MACD. Bitcoin was bouncing off of our support zone that we had built over the course of the month of December. You can see that support zone right here. And we believed, obviously, that there was going to be an approval. I've been telling you guys for weeks that we were going to see an approval on January the 10th, which is a Wednesday. Hopefully, you've been watching that and you were ready for that. These were going to converge bullish, and Bitcoin was going to go through the roof. And that's what happened. They converged bullish. We got above the 14-interval moving average on the RSI. We broke bullish on the MACD histogram. And we are now in very bullish territory. Bitcoin has pushed up and set a new high right here at $49,000. That's our new high. If you remember, something else I've been telling you for the last 3 months is that on approval, within 24 hours of approval, Bitcoin will be pushing 50. Right now, our yearly high is 49,000. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see a lot of these inflows. Much of the investment in this market has already been priced in, and we could even see a small drop in the short term because much of the hype is now gone. It's here. Cool. Time to celebrate, but the party ends in a couple of days, and everybody's like, oh, back to normal. Now it's just normal that we have Bitcoin ETF. Then we've actually got to let the actual bullish news come into play, which is the investment. And if it drops, you're probably going to see even more of it. These 11 companies endorsing Bitcoin and this waiver detail structure right here shows you the endorsement by all of these companies. All of these companies endorse the investment of Bitcoin, or else they wouldn't have gone through the hassle and the annoyance of working with Gary Gensler Securities and Exchange Commission to get these things approved. If you are a financial advisor, you are a fool to not recommend your clients put 1% in Bitcoin. You're a fool for that. And probably more often than not, you're going to get advice not to put Bitcoin 1% into Bitcoin even now. But it's foolhardy. And history will not play in favor of that. And natural selection of financial advisors will weed out the financial advisors that say no to buying Bitcoin. Because the people that are looking for financial advisors are going to say, what's your opinion on Bitcoin? And they're going to say, oh, don't buy it. It's a nonsense. It's a scam. Listen to the SEC. And the investors that know anything about what they're talking about are going to say, I'm not listening to you or Gray Gensler over there. I'm listening to the market. Market says I should have bought it 2 years ago. I'm not working with you. And natural market forces force the financial advisor to change their tune. Financial advice on what assets to buy is a cultural thing. Wisdom is timeless. It is not a matter of wisdom as to whether or not you should buy Bitcoin. It is a matter of wisdom to look at the history of something and see if there is real adoption of it and then buy that thing. Okay? Wisdom will lead you to that culturally specific conclusion, which in this case, culturally, we find that Bitcoin is a viable and valuable investment. And anyone who says otherwise at this point is now on the wrong side of history. We will see a considerable amount of investment in Bitcoin because of this, but it may take time. We've seen the beginning of a rally. We've seen Bitcoin set new yearly highs. We see the beginning of a parabolic uptrend. Now we need a couple of days to build market structure. Just like with any major development in a market, we need days to see market structure. Okay? Good deal. Let's read some chat. 48K is strong resistance as well as a support level. That's right. Can we just enjoy the win for Bitcoin? Yes, we will, and we shall. We shall. Monetary revolution. Psychologically, I'd like to see 50 today. That would be nice. I believe we're going to see a very large rally. Let's bring Bitcoin to $100,000 this year and ETH to 10K soon. I think it will. Just watch and it can go a lot higher. Absolutely it can. Like I said, let's read some chat. Tell me what you guys are thinking on this. Let's interact with chat here. We got another 10 minutes left in the stream. Now I just have to wait a year for 6 figures. Yeah, it's coming. Should not be worried about this retracement. Nope. What website did you get that from? This website right here is investors.com/news/SEC officially approves Bitcoin, etc. And then there's a bunch of different articles. Hope locating. Feel free to text me and I'll give you that website because I happen to know who that is. Let's see. People saying ETH is dead, lol. Yeah, ETH is not dead. It's fine. Queen said, I'm in the green on IBIT. Well, good to see we have somebody who's already bought the thing. Gary is trying to protect us. Yeah, I would like to think so. I would like to think that he is trying to protect us. I would like to believe that that is his heart. I don't know if I buy it. I think his trying to protect us, as I said earlier, every man will profess his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find. Who's read that in Proverbs? What is that? Proverbs chapter 20? Every man will profess that he has good intentions. And Gary Gensler, I'm sure, will profess that he has good intentions. And he very well may have good intentions. He very well may have good intentions, and that may be his only intention. But a faithful man who can find. Will we find a man that will keep his promises? Because the promise that the SEC gives is that they will be merit neutral. If Gary Gensler is going to not be merit neutral, he needs to not be doing it in the capacity of the Securities and Exchange Commission chairman. He needs to not be doing it on SEC.gov. He ought to be doing it on his own personal Twitter account. Let's see. And I do appreciate, as I said, I do appreciate the concerns that he puts out. And there are real concerns that Gary Gensler puts out. There are absolutely real concerns. There is fraud. There is phishing. There is manipulation. There are all these things. You got nothing wrong with somebody pointing out those things that we need to be careful of. That is also his job. And so I appreciate that. And as I said earlier, I do very much appreciate the way that this approval went about. I do appreciate that all 11 were approved at once. That was the right way to do it. So well done to Gary Gensler for that. I'm not looking at the man, I'm looking at the actions here. I got nothing against Gary Gensler personally. I'm sure he and I would get along great if I ran into him on the street. I'm sure we'd have a great time and laugh and make jokes and be friends and all that. But as I would call out a friend for lying, I've got to call him out for lying as well. I do not have anything against Gary Gensler. I do not hate him. I do not want to come after him personally. I will not bring him down. I will not revile him. I will simply call out the inconsistency where I see it and tell you that it is a very dangerous inconsistency for a regulator to have. Queen said, God is good. Pastor Jeb, life-changing seeds planted. God is good. Absolutely. Let's read some more chat. His intentions are good. I think so. I think they might be. I think they might be. Is it a sell the news event? I think there's a little bit of that going on. We expected a little bit of that would be going on. Which ETF would you choose? Honestly, whichever one is the easiest to access from your current brokerage account, and whichever one has the lowest fees. That's the way I'd go about it. And look, the different applicants know that that's the way you're going to go about it. You know, you've got seniorage. Were you in Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust? All right, maybe keep it there. The fees are really high. And they're keeping them high because they have a competitive advantage against everybody else in that their Bitcoin Trust was already an existing trust. That's why, if you look over here on this site, they've got the highest fees by a long shot. Whatever exchange you're on, whichever brokerage account you have, whichever company you have prior dealings with that you believe in their customer service and everything, and whichever one has the lowest fees. I will probably, if I ever do buy it, go with Fidelity-wise Origin Bitcoin Trust just because it's very accessible to me. My brokerage account is at Fidelity. But if you're on Wisdom Tree, it's not a bad option. VanEck, not a bad option. Grayscale, if you're already in the Bitcoin Trust, it's a large fee. If you want to convert over because of a smaller fee, then fine. We'll see. All right, let's read some more chat before we wrap it out. Bitcoin futures happened last cycle already. They did, and they were the top of the market. At that point, though, we were already very, very, very well, much higher. That is actually very well put. What is very well put, Mario? His intentions are not good. Absolutely not. Ultimately, I would like to believe that his intentions are good. I do my very best. You guys know this. I do my very best to believe the best in people. I do my very best to believe that people are fools before I believe they're villains. And I think there's foolishness afoot here, absolutely, on Gary's part. I don't want to think of him as a villain. I don't want to. I don't want to paint somebody as evil. I have been painted as evil so many times when actually I was just void of understanding. So many times. So many times. And I don't like it. I'm not interested in painting somebody as a villain when I think they could just be a fool. Bitcoin is having a correction down to 47.2. Love it. I love it. Let's get ourselves some buys. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's read some more chat. Statement about Gary Gensler and inconsistency is the only thing that matters. Like I said, I do not hate Gary Gensler. I've got no hatred for him. I hope that he will buy some Bitcoin. I hope he'll buy some of the ETF. I hope he'll change his tune. I hope that he will repent of his hatred towards Bitcoin. Same way that Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO, did. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink hated Bitcoin. He repented of that. He changed his mind. That's all repentance is. It's a change of mind. He changed his mind, and now he's making an arm and a leg on his ETF. By the way, if you guys have not hit the like button, make sure to hit that like button. We've got 1,000 people watching and only 348 likes. But yes, the inconsistency and the lie, and I'll call it what it is. It's a lie. The inconsistency and the lie from Gary Gensler, I cannot stand for, and I won't. If we, as civilians, made comments like him in a seat of power, we would be looked up for manipulation. That's right. I do believe that it's manipulation. Sharp rise, sharp retrace, then onward to higher, we think. I think so, Geekster Gaming. I believe that's a good way of putting it. What will happen if the next bear market, if that even existed? I think you'll see a similar bull market, bear market cycle, but I think it'll start to flatten out with Bitcoin. I've said before, I think as the bull market, bear market cycles go on, they're going to keep happening for the altcoins for decades, but for Bitcoin over the next 10 to 15 years, they're going to start to smooth out. And instead of 77% retracements, you'll see a 60% retracement or a 55% retracement. Warren Buffett needs to buy Bitcoin now. Yeah, he should. He would be wise to. He would be very wise to. Inverse Kramer again. Oof. 30K is support and it'll hit it now or in the next bear market, but eventually it'll come back down to test it. Maybe. Maybe. 31.8 is our support level. Saludos, mi hermano. Hola, ¿cómo está mi hermano? Daniel. Favela. Muchas gracias para tu presence. I don't know what the word would be. I'm not very good at Spanish. I can carry kind of a conversation. Let's see. Portfolio doing well. Michelle Mag said, good deal. Absolutely. I think 40. Okay, as far as bottoms, a lot of you guys are talking about bottoms. Let's talk about that. We've got strong support right now around the 44.3 to 44.7 range. Right here. And expect us to see a little bit of bearishness. You know why? Because this is Christmas Day. This is Christmas Day. We love the day. Christmas Day is awesome. But then December 26th comes, and you want to know some facts about December 26th? It is the most depressing day in the entire calendar. According to statistics, it is the single most depressing day on the entire calendar. Now, America gets Christmas wrong because Christmas Day is supposed to be the first day of Christmas. And on the second day of Christmas, you're not supposed to have sadness. You're supposed to have 2 turtle doves, right? It's the second day of Christmas, December 26th. The 12th day of Christmas is Three Kings Day, January 6th. Also known as the Epiphany, which was the day that the 3 wise men showed up and gave Jesus their gifts. Now, of course, that's just tradition. We don't know the day it actually happened. But, December 26th is not supposed to be depressing, but it is. It's the most depressing day on the entire calendar because of the way America celebrates Christmas. Because it's the day after Christmas, and everything's sad. And you saw a family, and you got reunited, and then boom, you're back to your old, boring, stale life. All kinds of statistics. I won't go through all of them. It's a really depressing day. Tomorrow might be December 26th for Bitcoin. And so we should be cautious of that. But we could see a very large rally following. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Buy the dip, absolutely. Guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, I want you to do a couple of things. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I do want to let you know that there's a massive bull market coming. But those who understand technical analysis are going to be the ones that actually profit from that bull market. So if you have not already signed up for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, I would highly recommend that you do that with the link in the description box down below, because you will be getting access to a veteran program teaching you everything that you need to know about technical analysis so you can get started and hit the ground running in TA so that you can analyze markets and figure out where they're going next. This course has over 45 videos and will teach you in a simplified way how to analyze financial markets, which is what we do, again, every day here on the channel. We do technical analysis on markets and try and figure out where they're going next so that we can make profitable trades and investments. And technical analysis is the single most important skill set that you will ever acquire to building out a profitable portfolio in the cryptocurrency space. So make sure to sign up for CT2A with the link in the description box down below. Let's read some more chat and then we're going to wrap it out. We appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Marley120 Thirst. Really appreciate that. Guys, we are going to wrap it out. A lot more content coming. Stay tuned. Cannot wait for you guys to see the content that we're going to be putting out. But like I said, we are going to wrap it out for today. Before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.